Okay. GB Design Partners is working in very different fields, as this overview shows a little bit. It's about very industrial products, very investment products like big machinery from ropeways, chairlifts, to very small objects like baby products. This is our here you see some samples about these different product ranges and product fields. What is very interesting is that it's very inspiring to work on something very different once during a day. I mean, you start in the morning with something very industrial, big machinery, and then you join in the afternoon maybe a project that is very much about human approach, human-centered approach, and whatever. Our basic approach comes from consumer products, comes from human-focused approaches. So we do classical product, industrial design, and product innovation. One product that is more a technical product, but also when we talk a little bit about how we approach design and what means inclusive, universal design for us. This is a product actually investment good. It's a retractable solar plant, more or less. So what you usually have on the roof, this is in an object and can be like a sunflower. It's folding and unfolding, and it can be put on a lorry and brought to a place where you need energy. And it is kind of it's made a product out of a usually roof situation of solar power, and it is a product that was invented in Austria also, and it's now sold from Boston, and it became an international product. Our focus, as I said, is coming always from user-centered approach. That means we do very different things like in life science or health products, and also in the as you see there over in field of bathroom sanitary ware. And when we talk about inclusive design, we have always this to carry this or to look at this balance of having something very special, a product that is very special, as in this breast pump, for example, that is a very, not to say invasive, but it's a very private product, and it's very much you have to think about the personal needs and the very specific needs, and that makes it not a universal product in itself. But so it's kind of find what is the core, what maybe different users in different fields share, and then we apply it to a very special product like this breast pump. You maybe you don't remember because you're not mothers yet, but you in this field there were very pragmatic solutions that you had to put it on the table, and it's more working like a pump you might know from a farm or something, not for cows but not for people. And this became in the last years a very decent and a very integrated product. When it comes to environment, another project that I want to share is a microplastic filter that we did. You see it also maybe if you look you see the everyday exhibition on the news in the VIENNA Design Week. It will also see it there. It is a product that is not very special. It's not about style or about design. It's about making people use it. That means this is a product that you plug it between your washing machine and the drainage hose, and the fibers that get off during washing will not go to the sea. They will be kept in this filter, and this filter can be removed, the insert, and can be sent back to Planet Care, what is the company that is running it, the Slovenian startup, and they do. From these leftovers, they do recycled products or whatever, and you send back a new filter and you do it over again. So I think this is a very simple product, but the thing is, design here is for, of course, making it workable and but on the other hand, to attractive, because people, the more people using this microfiber filter, the less goes to the sea. So if everyone is using it, that is washing his clothes, that would be the best. So design in this case is to make it very attractive to use it, to make it usable, to make it also make it sexy, that it becomes a product that you use in your home. This is very important, and this is our task as designers, I guess. When you talk about inclusiveness or about very specific user-centered approach, this is an old picture that I usually shared with my students in Graz. But it's interesting. Maybe you know it. This is a kind of an. So you can do different things to step into the shoes of the users you want to serve, and doing interviews, shadowing them. You know, all these things. And this is a special thing. What I like, it's very old, but I like it. This is a suit that you can wear to feel like an old person. You know, this is very interesting. You see all the strings that you have, that your movements are not as easy as usual, and you have yellowish eyesight and all these things. I think this is interesting. It's also a way to really get into it, because what we usually do is to try to look through the eyes of the user, and this is something that you can also maybe physically learn about. When we talk about criteria that we use, is also a slide that I had in my lecture on the college. Is about, this is, maybe you know the RAMs, the 10 rules of RAMs, you know. This is something in another way to meet this. By the way, I like these rules of RAMs. They still apply, but of course they are from an age when there was no digital products and whatever. But and I tried to think about what we apply as criteria that we try to find in all people. That means when we talk about inclusiveness, we talk about, okay, different gender, different age, different countries you come from, whatever. So different cultural background. And the idea is to find something that 90% of all people share, because it's about psychology. We talk about, so the approach is make less and whatever, but the approach is to think about what psychology or what psychological criteria could be used to create a kind of approach that makes products possible that are inclusive in this sense, or universal. You see some of these things. I can just share some of them. This is about thoughtless acts. You know, this is. Maybe you know from IDEO, Sultan Furi, she's a researcher there, and she did a wonderful small book where she just collected what people do, what she saw, people, she took photos from leftovers, for example, of these litter things that people left somewhere in the environment, and it's funny to see how people kind of interact with their environment. They kind of react to what's there, the complete object or whatever. So this is something they do, to do something without thinking about it, but doing it on purpose somehow, and this is very interesting. So this could be these thought-led acts that you can observe what people share in kind of how they react to the environment is very interesting. Or of course the mapping is such an issue that is shared with all, so to easily understand how, for example, operation elements are connected to the object they should operate, or about visibility and feedback, so to make something very clear. This is all psychological criteria that can be used for all target and for all process. This is my favorite, maybe the 80-20, the Pareto rule, you know. This is very important to think always when you, because more now, I like the best is an object that has, think of a pencil for a designer, but think of a pencil with an eraser, and think that the eraser is 50% of the pencil. This is the perfect tool. So get rid of something. To design something is to make it make less, to reduce it, to make it go to the core. And the 80-20 rule is very important for this, because as you know that 80%, for example, of any system cause the effects of 20 elements of the variable. So, for example, the traffic. 80% of the traffic in Vienna is on the Gürtel. I don't know, it's about 20% of this. So this is what we try to do about psychology background. And just want to share some more products about in the bathroom. We work since decades, I guess, in the bathroom and do innovation there. And when we start with doing something innovative, that should be also universal and inclusively working. We talk about, we start with simple truths, you know, very simple, very clear, that you can also easily communicate about use, about time, about context, for example. When we talk about context in the bathroom, we see what marketing is telling us. Marketing is telling that this is the bathroom that you can use, okay? This is the bathroom. You look on the fjord, Norwegian fjord, and you have 50 square meters of a bathroom. But this is a rare occasion, I guess. So usually this is more the average. The average is about 8 to 9 square meters, and it is maybe not even naturally lit. Usually it's not even a window in, and this is what we have to conform to when we talk about bathroom. So another, when we talk about context, when we talk about time, when it comes to bathroom, a bathroom is very seldom or very rarely changed, you know. There's an average, at least in Austria and Germany, 20 years. Only every 20 years the bathroom is refurbished. That means you have only every 20 years the chance to make a new setting in the bathroom. What does this mean for 20 years? If you think of a family living in a flat, there will be generations using the same bathroom. Yeah? So you have to think about that to make it possible that these generations can share the same setting that won't be changed for maybe about 20 years. This is also an approach that you have to take into account when you talk about bathroom. And of course the use. How is it used? And we started back 15 years or so to work with an Austrian company to take this, to think about how we can join or how we can react to the simple truth that 95% the shower in bathroom is used and only 5% use the bathtub for taking a full bath. So people are, of course, reluctant to sacrifice the bathtub, so they want to push in everything in the small bathroom, and in the end, they use it 90% for just showering. And so therefore, we created, back 15 years already or more, this first product that is a combination of shower and bath in the bathroom, and it's just a bathtub that you can enter through a door, and you create in the same space the same functionality. It's also for generations again, because we think about that it will be used by kids, it will be used later on by elderly or whatever. And now, last year, we did the third generation of this combination of shower and bathtub, and now from the other way, from the other direction. We started 15 years ago with the bathtub and kicked a hole in it, and then made it easier to take a shower in. Now we took the shower because it became very common that the traditional or the usual setting in a bathroom is now the walk-in shower. I mean, there's just a glass pane, and therefore we reinvented this again and said, okay, let's do something that is starting from this walk-in shower and make it just for this 5% of use. We can close it. We can close the shower tray, more or less, the higher shower tray, to make it possible for taking a bath. Very important also when it comes to inclusiveness and whatever, and for this, think of these ages of these different generations, it is barrier-free. That means you can just walk right in. It's flat to the ground, but it's still a bathtub for 5% of use. Yeah. Questions for this? Okay, I guess that's more or less what I wanted to tell you about these things. Yeah, you can see that integration. And what is in the bathroom very important, that you generate space. That means more space in the bathroom, even if the small ones that we before, what I mentioned before, that the bathroom might be very, very small. Okay, and the last example I want to give you, and then I'm already finished, is about kids. We work since also a very long time for playgrounds, for example, for doing kids. Also, there's also an issue about inclusiveness when we talk about that kids of different levels of anxiety or of different levels of ability of their body should be able to join in one play and whatever. So this is another issue, but I'll tell you even about the younger ones, the babies. In this case, we work for a big company here in Austria that became worldwide, also very, very, very well known for their pacifiers. They're doing 70 million pacifiers a year, so every second 2 are sold, so that's quite a lot. So they cover and we work for them since 20 years already, and we do all the products that are kind of it's about pacifiers, it's about the tableware and whatever, and most of them are designed to adapt or to bring kids to get to know the products or the tools of adults. This is also fine. And there's a lot of stuff that you need if for within, sometimes only within weeks or so, for the newborns and for the babies. For example, the toothbrush is something that there's also could be a didactic product where you get that kids get to know as early as possible, maybe even before they have actual teeth, to use the toothbrush, so they get used to it during their life and have for health and for having a nice thing. So we did products that are funny for them, but also that can be shared, and the adults can share them with the kids, so they can learn them how to brush rightly and all these things. I think it is very, and we were then asked to do cutlery. Cutlery starts with you feed the baby out of a jar, that is the feeding cutlery or the feeding spoon, and then you have the cutlery that's more or less resembling what you all know from metal cutlery for adult use. That's fine. This is also, we tried to make the knife so that the little hand with the fist ability to grip things can use it perfectly, but we said there's something missing. There's something missing. What is actually because kids have not the ability to be successful with a spoon when they are 8 months old. They dip it or whatever, and they cannot really succeed with this kind of cutlery. So we said there's something missing when they start to learn to eat. And the thing is that we all start with being able to use the fist only for gripping something, and also the kids do this like this, and therefore we said, okay, we need something they can use like with the fist grip and not with the pinching grip, but with the fist grip. And this was what they called actually the dippers, because this was a new product that was created to join or to fill this gap between being fed and feeding themselves with adults cutlery. So it's more, of course, as maybe you also see sometimes the kids are starting to play with the food and tipping it, but it's important that in the first time when they start to eat or so, that they get success or be successful also with the tools they are using. So we have the full range is now in this is completed by this very, very, very age-specific tool. This is again an issue about inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means also to include these very specific needs that also the main purpose is to make kids or babies ready for the adult world, more or less. Yeah, there's a full range of this. I guess that was it. Thank you for this, and I would like, if you have questions or would like to what do you think about how to succeed with doing special products like for babies or for mothers or whatever, and still having something that is inclusive? How is your approach to this? Have you what do you think about this? Is this something what we could share about this?
Okay. Can I ask something?
Yeah, of course.
I really like your projects and like your attitude. I'm curious, you're like 3 guys, and you doing the projects for kids, and what I have read in the book Invisible Women, we have a lot of the experience, like the things built by men for women, without knowing how actually does it work. How do you do it? Like, how do you do your research Because like of course you cannot have all experiences like all people, but how?
Yeah, this is why. I tried to just touched it in the beginning of these getting in the shoes of the user. You mean this is very important. Of course, this is the most important thing. And I think it's not something that because when I was trained in school or so, it was about doing some research, and then it was not so much digital, so we did a lot of copy. So doing a lot of material, then we had a stack of material and said, okay, we did our research, now we can start designing. But what is very important today, and what is important, what we all share, I guess, also from our opinion, is that we have to repeatedly, permanently. What we do when we do a product like this, we test it to the duration depending on the project, but it might be 5 times. And when it comes to the baby product, it's, for example, breast pumps also is so intimate, it's so intimate. So it's hard to find a person that is testing such a product, because she should be ready to do it, but she should be also in the right stage of the milk is she can produce milk and all these things. So this is super intimate, but it has to be done because otherwise you will. So it's better that we think a lot of that we invest a lot of time and also efforts to get it right, to save the time and the irritation of thousands of people or millions of people. So what we do, to answer your question, is to do it repeatedly. That means there's always a stage where we try to get to it in the shoes. Of course, it helps if you do this for years or so, and there's something like also standard. Mom, for example, Mom is the company that does this baby products, and they have a lot of market research and whatever. And I always, it's not succeeded yet, but I always suggested to keep the things that always every time are the first answers or the first thoughts about something, to keep them, because like my wheel of things, this is something about that you can use as a kind of a mindset. This is also something then you don't need to research all over again. But basically it's about testing, and the newer the product is, the more you have to test. Also for the bathtub, we had it here, we built it up in front of the workshop, and we had old people here, we had young people, we had kids here, whatever. With the prototype, we did a lot of research, especially with the first one. The second was more or less easier to do, but the first one had a lot of research. Yeah.
Can I have just one question to it? You said like testing and repeating the process. Do you have the experience in your agency, in your studio, that you produce the product, and in the using process, people find out, you have to change it,
yeah.
You're supposed to change it.
Yeah, this is my envy to digital products, because digital products always better, Yeah. You put them in the market and better, and then you can do it. They are better version, and you could this better version better. But this is not possible for physical products. Yeah, this is an issue, and therefore this is also that sometimes the time to market is very long. What is a big challenge, because on the one hand we need the shortest possible time to market to make the money, or to make the company that invested the money in the development can also make money from it. Okay, so but when it comes to baby products, it's even for a pacifier, a SUSA, it takes sometimes 3 years until this little piece of plastic comes to the market, because they want to have just no complaints. It means they have 0.5, I think. 0.5% complaints or so. So they really are on a very low level of complaints, because especially when these products are tested by influencers or whatever, and they share it, and they think that they will ruin the company completely if they have a problem with the product. So this is a big challenge to make it as fast that it can enter the market as fast as possible, but that you have enough time to make it repeatedly changeable. But of course you cannot change what MAM or other companies also do to meet this need of adapting it. They have start markets, you know. They have, for example, they have products, they take a country or even a fraction of a country and do just a start market there. And if you know, this is about statistics, that you can, if you say 500 sample will work, that you have only problems then maybe 1% or whatever for the whole range that you will for the whole market that you will try to serve. So this is one way to do it. But of course, it is a very important issue to because you cannot know everything beforehand. Not everything. It's impossible. Because there are sometimes weird reactions and whatever. You cannot foresee everything, but you have to. But you can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting your focus on inclusivity. Like I also try to have that in my projects. I think it's really important for us designers to do that. So like I really appreciated also the fact of like being in the users like shoes. I thought the suit for the elderly people is like super interesting and also funny. Funny like in a very like raising awareness way and like good way. I was just curious to know about like your projects. Are they like self-initiated projects or like are they commissioned like by clients? Like what's the sort of like percentage?
Traditionally, it's by clients, but we enter sometimes we enter projects in a phase where the client also doesn't know where to go to. For example, for this solar sunflower element, you know, this plant. This was something where we entered in the very first stage, and we were streaming up how this could be implemented. Their basic idea. And as I also was mentioning in the baby products thing, the dippers was our idea, of course. We said, okay, this smoothing has to be done. This was not there. But usually 80% is something when they say, okay, we need for a special market also. When it comes to international products, it's sometimes also not, they are not internationally sold, but only in several countries, and they need something, they come to us and we discuss it. So of course we work very close with them, and you cannot really, so we are with companies like MAM also, we work for decades, and this is where we cannot really tell where the idea come from in the end. Was it the engineers or was it the thing? So it's a big effort to get out the best, and sometimes it's about ping pong. But we are keen also to approach companies sometimes with an idea that we have. But this is not easy, because it's we usually go to big ones because we want to be fast, you know, and the big ones have a lot of on their schedule, and sometimes but especially in the kids products, we work so long in the kids area for toys and play, and have a lot of ideas for this, and we trained up. But this is not easy to get people to make it how relevant this is for the market. So because the relevance is usually, as we know as designers, the relevance is our gut feel. Okay, we know this is working, this is a good stuff, but you have to have another set of reasons for businessmen, because the businessmen, they want to see the numbers, you know. So, but we all doomed to get to learn this, because this is important, that we sometimes have to sell our creativity on a completely other basis without telling this is better, because it's more psychology, it's more responding to the psychology of people, whatever. This is not interesting for I exaggerate. Of course, there are people that can read this, but if you approach a company, they don't come to me, but if I approach a company, then it's about this, to transfer your idea to something that is countable and that is somehow described. But it's also interesting. And by the way, if the idea is strong, you can do it, because it will be worthwhile. It will be relevant to many people if it really. So therefore, it's a kind of a proof also. If you can convince a number person, it's also another point that it will work. Yeah.
Okay.
So a session of the team to ideate, to discuss it also. Yeah, in ancient times we called this brainstorming. Brainstorming is not like, we don't use brainstorming, we use hardball brainstorming. This is kind of, we don't, when I was in my studies or so, there was written on the wall, everything is allowed and nothing should be questioned in the brainstorming process. But we do it another way. We question everything, we discuss it, we hardball brainstorm. And this is this first approach. So we really, we know each other very long, so it's not no danger to get offensive or something, but we really work hard on this, and we challenge each other's ideas immediately, So this is something like we work in the beginning, very, very fast. I think this is important to save the time, to have as many as possible ideas in the first place, to be fast and to be hard and to be not forgiving and to be super fast, and because quality only comes from quantity. Everything else is not true, in my opinion. Only quantity delivers quality. You cannot say, out of nowhere, I have the genius idea. Sometimes maybe, but the other thing is just working, getting 10 wrong ideas and finding the 11th that is better and whatever. So quantity to produce in this early stage is about fast and quantity. This is very important.
And do you go from do you always work on it together, or do you then go away and sit and think individually and then come back?
Yeah, both. Also this is also kind of a ping pong. Yeah, they say, okay, we dream up together something, and then we say, okay, try this, and then Christian also is trying it for half a day, and then we come back and say, okay, no, we didn't expect it. So we change this, because I think sometimes it's also very important. Thinking on your own is also something important, because think wrong, as Doris Lessing says, think wrongly if you please, but think on your own. That means you're not disturbed by anything. This also, so this should be a balance of working together and challenging each other's ideas, and then developing your own idea, like in a stream. So that you say, okay, this is. I just think this is very important. This is a very arty approach, I guess, but don't tell everyone, please. Danke. Sehr gefreut, die Diskussion. Thanks for the discussion also, because it's very inspiring, and thank you. So a session of the team to ideate, to discuss it also. Yeah, in ancient times we called this brainstorming. Brainstorming is not like, we don't use brainstorming, we use hardball brainstorming. This is kind of, when I was in my studies or so, there was written on the wall, everything is allowed and nothing should be questioned in the brainstorming process. But we do it another way. We question everything, we discuss it, we hardball brainstorm, and this is this first approach. So we really, we know each other very long, so it's not no danger to get offensive or something, but we really work hard on this, and we challenge each other's ideas immediately. So this is something like we work in the beginning, very, very fast. I think this is important to save the time, to have as many as possible ideas in the first place, to be fast and to be hard and to be not forgiving and to be super fast, and because quality only comes from quantity. Everything else is not true, in my opinion. Only quantity delivers quality. You cannot say, out of nowhere, I have the genius idea. Sometimes maybe, but the other thing is just working, getting 10 wrong ideas and finding the 11th that is better and whatever. So quantity to produce in this early stage is about fast and quantity. This is very important.
And do you go from do you always work on it together, or do you then go away and sit and think individually and then come back?
Yeah, both. Also this is also kind of a ping pong. Yeah, they say, okay, we dream up together something, and then we say, okay, try this, and then Christian also is trying it for half a day, and then we come back and say, okay, no, we didn't expect it. So we change this, because I think sometimes it's also very important. Thinking on your own is also something important, because think wrong, as Doris Lessing says, think wrongly if you please, but think on your own, you know. That means you're not disturbed by anything. This also, so this should be a balance of working together and challenging each other's ideas, and then developing your own idea like in a stream, you know, so that you say, okay, this is, I just think this is very important. This is a very arty approach, I guess, but don't tell everyone, please. Thank you. Sehr gefreut, die Diskussion. Thanks for the discussion also, because it was very inspiring.